It sounds like your curiosity and covering Alex Jones put you on the map a little bit, blew you up a little bit. What was it about him that
It,
made you want to
well,
delve in?
this
Because most people stay away from him. Most people are
so this is
scared.
how naivety is a great thing sometimes because you don't even know that which you should be fearful of, and so you do things that you might not have otherwise done had you thought you should have been fearful of it. If I had known what I knew now, I might have said, yeah, I'll pick another deposition to break down. I didn't know anything about Alex Jones. I didn't know the baggage that went with Alex Jones. I vaguely knew, some of his stuff that had been in the news. And I'm glad I didn't know it, because the right thing would have been to do the breakdown anyhow. But the cowardly thing to do might have been, I might have done it had I known better, is pick another subject. But I did it. I didn't pick it because Alex Jones was a notorious character. I really didn't know. I just did it because I read the headlines. They were all running that 5-second clip of Alex Jones saying, I suffered from a form of psychosis. And I was like, well, that's interesting. It maybe makes him look weird, but it doesn't tell me what happened in that deposition. And I sat through the 3 hours, 17 minutes of that deposition. And I was like, holy cows, the media is not telling us a damn thing. They're not explaining anything. That deposition did not go badly for Alex Jones. As a lawyer, that's my opinion. People might disagree. That deposition went terribly for the attorney conducting it, who I don't know who he is. Then when I broke it down, it's like, then you realize people just need information. They need to understand. They don't need to be told what to think. They just need to be told the information so they can think on their own. And that was, I mean, really, that's where it started snowballing. And I'm glad it happened.
What was the deposition from? Like, what was
it? Was from the Sandy Hook defamation case. So you had this lawyer asking Alex Jones all these questions about things he had said in broadcasts where he had, allegedly accused people of being crisis actors, allegedly accused, made a lot of accusations, allegedly. Some of them were taken in context. A lot of them were not. And what this lawyer had done is spliced together in like a 10-minute video, a number of supercuts of like Alex Jones from different broadcasts, different dates, and had said, this is from one broadcast, and it led to such confusion. But by having spliced together the videos, the lawyer effectively created one exhibit that was itself a montage of various exhibits, the context of which could not be established based on that exhibit. So it was a big mess. It was like 101. Stagiaires would learn very quickly not to do that. And the entire deposition did not go badly for Alex Jones. He actually looked pretty normal, pretty calm. And even the bit about the psychosis they took out of context, because in the context of what he was saying it, what he basically said is, we've been fed so much misinformation by the mainstream media that even when you see something that's true, you have a reflex to think it's false. And I've grown to appreciate that.
There's a name for that, I think, isn't
there?
Yes,
it is. It's something trauma. Someone in the chat will definitely get it faster than me. But that's what he said. He's like, it was a form of psychosis. I looked at everything and I thought everything was fake, even that which was true, just because of the propensity of the media to push fake stuff on us. Then you discover it, and then you view everything as fake, even that which is true. And so, after that deposition, that video took off. It's not just that I figured out the niche, and I call it a niche, but like the niche of the channel. I then also began experiencing firsthand in the early stages for me, the YouTube censorship, the absolute arbitrariness of the rules they implement, the slapping down of hate speech, because that deposition breakdown, my deposition breakdown of that deposition, where I'm sitting on my roof wearing sunglasses like a noob, that got removed from YouTube. And the reason they gave
just for mentioning him, right?
Well, I didn't even, it's such an amazing thing. First, it got demonetized. Then it got, I'm forgetting the order, it got remonetized, then demonetized, back and forth on monetization, which I didn't care about. Then I go to the video one day. No, someone sends me a message and says, Viva, your video's been taken off the internet. And I go and I don't see the video anymore. All that's there is a little black box that says, violated the terms of service or community guidelines as relates to hate speech.
Oof. And then, when was this? Do you remember what year this was?
This was 2019.
Oh, gosh.
April 2019.
So right when they started really cracking down.
I don't even know what it was, but I said that's bullcrap. I take it down for whatever the reason, but now nobody sees the video. All they see is that label violates the terms for hate speech, and they're not going to know what I said. And so then I filed an appeal. I think the appeal got confirmed, and then 2 weeks later, out of the blue, the video is back up. It's remonetized, and it's been there ever since. But it was all of this happened when it had gotten to about 250,000 views. So maybe if anybody wants to impute intentions, Maybe it was to kill the momentum, just
It was too hot. Yeah.
And whatever. But that's when I started discovering the YouTube chicanery, which I then experienced more and more as time went on. But that is also, a discussion on its own.
Very interesting. That's so you really stepped in it, but in a good way. Everything that happens to you is, I think, intended to lead you towards your purpose.
I know I tend to agree, and it's fortuitous. I mean, I did discover a lot of the I don't refer to people judgmentally in this sense. There are a lot of that's a polarizing issue. The entire Sandy Hook thing, Alex Jones as an individual, and the internet is a place where people speak freely, which often means they speak rudely, they bully people into trying to believe what they believe. I've seen both, all sides of the Alex Jones as a human. The human part I'm much more comfortable with right now after our stream with him as well. But the debate around some of these incidents, I don't get into those, because people will believe what they believe, and ultimately it doesn't matter what I believe. It matters what can be proven, and it matters what is relevant or helpful for the discussion. So some issues I just stay away from. But Alex Jones, I'm not going to stay away from people just because YouTube might get me in trouble. Although I did think long and hard before doing the stream with Alex.
And Robert Barnes has represented him, and I think my curiosity and interest in him is the same as it is for many other people who are censored and deeply misunderstood and almost purposely misunderstood by the media. Was it through your, I guess, reading about Alex Jones? Is that how you connected with Robert Barnes?
It was actually through Sandman, and the how wet behind the ears and totally ignorant I was. It took me so long to even piece together that Barnes was the lawyer in the deposition, where the lawyer at one point says, "I appreciate your work, Mr. Barnes." I never even put it together. I think we had done one or two streams before. It might have been the first stream I put it together, but it was actually Nicholas Sandman that brought us together on Twitter. Then I reached out and asked if he would do explain things to us, and he agreed, because he was representing the Covington Catholic kids, not Nicholas Sandman. But it wasn't actually Alex Jones. I think that might have gotten me on his radar, or he might have seen that. But it was Nicholas Sandman and the Covington kids that actually brought us together. We did one stream. It worked. We clicked. And then we started doing more and more streams. And as the COVID took over and the elections, I mean, people just... He's an encyclopedia of information. He's charismatic. He's clear and concise in the way he explains things. I think I have a fair assessment of my own knowledge and my own skills, but I know where Barnes is just in another dimension. And I think what I bring to the table is I sometimes can clarify it, simplify it, break it down, and it's a learning thing for me as well to do these streams with Barnes. But it's turned into something, I mean, absolutely amazing. Never could have foreseen it happening, and among the most fortunate accidents to happen in my life. Yeah,
and you both have such great skills. Like, he is, like you said, an encyclopedia, but you kind of can break things down into in kind of like the way a teacher, the best kind of a teacher would, like into layman's terms, because I don't know what it is, and maybe this is on purpose, but I think just so many of us, either we don't read the laws or we just can't understand them. It is.
Well, they are incomprehensible. It is one of the biggest critiques of the practice, but it's not an accident. It is done that way so that lawyers can justify having a monopoly or just having a de facto monopoly, because the laws are incomprehensible. The procedure is incomprehensible. And it is such that even if, citizens, pro se litigants, have access to the system on their own, it's virtually impractical for anybody, because it's not a question of intelligence. It's just literally a question of reading code. And I can't code on a computer. I don't, I understand how people cannot read the civil code and piece together what any of the provisions mean. And it's breaking it down, simplifying it without distorting it is an important thing. It's very easy to pull a CNN and break it down so much that you totally distort what it means, to the point where you say, like, nobody can read these emails because it's against the law, so you have to watch us. So that is the catch. That's the most important thing, is break it down, make sure you understand it enough, because I have to fill in my own blanks every now and again, and break it down enough to make it understandable, not too complicated and not oversimplified, so that it's useful to people who just want to understand.